Okay, so it's always important to me. We've known each other for years. There was like this space where we were both in the movement. I kind of stepped away, and then I feel God brought us back together because you heard me share after all of the trauma and drama that I went through. And so how has Fire Revolution impacted you now?
Just the unity of us coming back and having the grace, and that key word is unity, is we came together and it was all God. Because people are like, oh, okay, you gotta listen to her story, and I'm like, wait, that's Jessica. It's like, I remember her through Rebecca Bennett. Giving a shout out to Rebecca.
Yes, we love you, Rebecca.
So going through that, and we went through the roller coasters of the human trafficking movement coming to life, and what wasn't trafficking, what was, and people still learning so much, and survivors learning, because you had different walks of surviving. And it's like, okay, what's the true definition? So for us to come back and have that opening, and having the grace and understanding, we could share what we want to share, and what we don't want to share, that is okay. To be free to share my story of what I went through to help somebody else, I'm okay with that.
We're so grateful for you.
It's gonna help somebody. It's gonna educate people. It's gonna set somebody free.
Yes.
And that's what I want, is I don't want somebody stuck. Everybody matters. No matter what, you matter.
Amen. Welcome everybody to Fire Revolution Advocacy for Women Inc. Today we are filming on site with one of our amazing fire survivor advocates, Yolanda. And today we're sharing her story. She's sharing her story on what happened. And I just think it's absolutely incredible. She is so brave for doing this. So just share a little bit with us about who you are, where you're originally from, and leading up to the steps that brought you to this place.
My name's Yolanda. I'm originally from San Diego, California. Moved here in 98. Then eventually life got crazy and I was trafficked here.
And just take a moment to see. I love how so many people, as she started to share, like the years that it came to coming to this point of filming, that someone created this shirt and sent it to her so that we could include it in the video. Okay, so right now in this moment, we're driving up to the location where Yolanda was held captive. So this is just the beginning, and we'll go into what happened.
So welcome to my house. You could paint it on the outside, make it look pretty, but the inside still be personal hell. Make sure you do the internal work. This once was my internal hell in the early 2000s, where I was held captive, and now I'm set free. And this is just a reminder, lesson, something I've survived that not many have. Thank you, God, for setting me free. About is, I had a friend that was locked up who became friends with my trapper, put it that way, and did the process of grooming him to get towards me, hung out with me and my other friend. Then once the comfort level was there, I asked my girlfriend and boyfriend if it was okay to hang out with him alone. And from there, we hung out, we drank, I was drugged, we partied at a hotel at First Ave. Used to be a cruising spot, and there were cops that seen. They just told us to keep the music down and let me back into that room. Eventually worked my way to here, and he took off with the car. I was left here. I was drugged. Got to a point I didn't know who I was. If he told me where we were
in Paris, I seen the Eiffel Towers. I actually believe you. I was actually brought inside. So me and so-called friend parked my car here. Well, he parked my car here. We end up going inside.
Okay.
And that was his friend, so my second trafficker.
Okay.
This became my prison, pretty much, where I was held captive. I was on the other side, upstairs. They used to have sliding glass doors back in early 2000. This had more of a darker appearance. There was a payphone, so that should say something right there. I pretended to be on the payphone. That's one way I got it. So a lot of it's still somewhat the same. The coloring is pretty much the same. They didn't have this type of entrance, which I do have a picture of what it did look like. All the things that happened inside, getting the preparation of seeing what they're going to do with me, pretty much. So the process of being captive and before getting sent to another country is what their plan was for me, or his plan was for me. You got to test a product before you buy the product. You got to test a car before you buy it. So there was the testing. I was supposed to go to Amsterdam. I remember him asking me what name did I use for guys that I didn't really want to give my number to or didn't really want to talk to. And me and one of my old friends, we switched names. So I'm like, oh, Rachel. Because I would go ahead and give her name. And we would do that and just give each other's number. So it's like, okay, if you think this guy's cute, you could go ahead, have him, or just find a way to get rid of him. So we did that. So it was easy for her to remember that name. And they drugged me with what they put into people's bodies before they put them in coma for surgery. And that kept in. I didn't have anything to eat for days. So it was several days that I was captive. There was the drinking. I wanted to try and stay high to stay awake. And how many times I blacked out, I do not know. To say who I was, I came in and out. I didn't know my own name at times because I'm writing like, that sounds familiar. You look familiar. So even to escape this was surprising. I had to gain his trust. And I remember being little. It's coming from a broken home. My mom always had me run. It's like, run to your grandma's. So I knew how to escape. I knew the way to. I was like, okay, let me get him comfortable, bathroom. But I couldn't give him too much leeway that he knew that I was just caving in. Once he did get comfortable, I did go ahead and act like I was falling asleep. He went to go take a shower, and I took off. I know there were times where I wanted people to help because he did take me to the store to buy new clothes. And I'm looking at people going like, help me. It's like just staring at them. But the way they looked at me probably was some drug addict that strung out, especially being in that area. I had to get out of the hell. So when I went to the bathroom myself, I washed my hands. I looked in the mirror. I didn't know who, I'm going to say, I didn't know who the hell I was. So when you look in the mirror not knowing who you are, I was either going to go to another country that I've never been, or I was going to die. So that was my wake-up point to do whatever I had to get out there. So I let him go like, oh, Amsterdam sounds great. Let's go there. We could party, smoke weeds, legal. I could drink, no problem. Not knowing that in Amsterdam, prostitution's legal. I hated every minute of it because I knew that I had to have sex with him. I knew that I had to give him somewhat of what he wanted, but I had to play dumb and like I didn't really want so much of it to get him there. So it's doing what you have to, even though you rather dip your body in acid, be in a huge bucket of acid, just wanting everything to end that you got to get out. So once he's saying, it's like, okay, she's tired, she's about to fall asleep, I'm going to go take a shower, just go ahead and take a nap. No problem, I'll go ahead and sleep. I've been up for, I don't know how long, because I don't know how many times I blacked out. So once he was in there, I heard the shower, I took off, I came down. At the bottom of the stairs used to be a payphone. I acted like I was on the payphone. I heard the other trafficker back in the office. So I looked up and waved like I was waving at him.
So the payphone was over here, right?
Yes.
It used to be over there. And so you're off the phone. So what happened where you finally found that moment to bolt?
Pretty much when he went to the bathroom is my go-to. My mom used to go to the bathroom, I would take off.
Okay.
And so to escape anyone goes to the bathroom, I knew it was my go-to. I was able to go. So I pretty much ran. So all the way down. I was trying to look through different escape routes if I could turn. So I know that one wasn't safe to turn into. And then if we go over here, this was all still here. So they haven't done that. They're still fixing this place up nice. So here. I kept going. Here was not for me to go to. I didn't see any way that I could escape clearly or find a get out car. I didn't have my car because he took off with it. We ran all the way. There wasn't a stoplight there in the early 2000s. And you can see that they're still doing some work and cleaning up here more. Oh, it was definitely a walk. All I kept thinking is I had to get the hell out of there and get away as soon as possible without being seen. So I knew one trafficker was out somewhere and the other one was in there. But yeah, and I remember his car so well because he had a convertible and he had cow printed seat covers. And I clowned on him for that. I remember he told me he was from Oceanside. So Cali, hanging out with Cali. My other trafficker was from Lemon Grove, so San Diego. From San Diego, we're here in Arizona. Back then, Arizona and California were at war, so Cali had to stick with Cali. And I think I had some friends in Arizona that accepted me for me. I was the baby, the baby girl, and they knew my heart. They knew me. But I just ran here and I knew there was Circle K and the bus stop and the freeway was nearby. If I needed to, I could take off to the freeway.
What did you do?
Well, one, pray to God that I would get out without being seen. That was my biggest thing. And then you see here, you have LA, then you got going east. So my mind was either go to Cali, be home with that family, but how am I going to go on my feet? Then to go this way. Then the bus wasn't getting here, so I couldn't really just jump on the bus. So I end up getting up and going towards Circle K. And I seen a guy that was watching me. He had a red pencil asking if I needed help or a ride somewhere. And I'm like, yes, I left my phone. I try to make different excuses to get some help, but he was already helping. Then he just lives right here. Give me some water. I don't know how I looked. I was in the clothes that the guy bought me, looking like something else, but it's a good thing that I was covered more than what I was before. I know I look like I was on one because I was definitely on. I lied. and ended up going to this place that ended up being my saving grace place.
So it was an act of kindness from a stranger that literally saved your life.
Yes.
See something, say something.
So before, this was more yellow. In my memory, it was more yellow. Went in there. There was no furniture in there. They opened the refrigerator. It was pretty much empty. He gave me the sink water, so I had Phoenix water, but it was the most refreshing water, so clear. And he was pretty much God sent. I think he was Middle Eastern. He drove me around. Then he took me to the bus station. I found that I had $40. I didn't have my ID. I didn't have anything on me. And I don't even know how I ended up with $40. Because when I first was hanging out with my friend, I had $2 in cash. But that's all that I remember having was the clothes and those $2. And then ending up at the bus station. And at that bus station, he told me where exactly to stay, how to be. I had my dead cell phone with no charger. And he told me if I felt uncomfortable to act like I was on the phone. Come to find out, my so-called friend that pimped me out pretty much, because the first one that he introduced me to ended up being my friend. He told him I was a rookie escort. He told me that he did put something in my drink. And he told me who the guy was, and I was a trade-off for the money he owed him for all the drugs that he got from him. And the crazy thing is, yes, like I said, the guy who paid for me exchanged for his debt ended up becoming a really good friend.
Like, what were the thoughts of planning the escape?
I did think my family, but the more doped up I was, the less I was connected to anything. Not knowing who I was. Losing me.
Did you cry out to God at all?
Yeah. Pretty much, get me the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Pretty much when the bus stop is the biggest part that I cried out, because realizing it's like, okay, I'm in Phoenix, where am I? Then look around again and be like, where am I? Who am I?
Mm-hmm.
It's having that in and out moment, because what the drug does that they put into people for surgery puts them in complete coma. So in all reality, with no food, alcohol, different drugs in my system, because I don't know, they made me special drinks.
Mm-hmm.
And here I think I'm already meant to stay up and be like, I need to be awake during this, because if I fall asleep, I might not wake back up. And yeah, that realization, you just have to survive. I didn't want to die.
What do you feel made you vulnerable to be recruited and just kind of being led into that situation?
It pretty much all started in childhood. I was molested when I was 3 by family. I had full-on sex at the age of 5. Went to like Disneyland, lived in California, went to Disneyland, the zoo, Knott's Berry Farm, experiencing those things. But the joy of it, I was so broken as a kid. I still had that huge heart. I would sacrifice me. And then going through getting older, having a neighbor friend, which was a girl, blonde hair, blue eyes, and I opened up to my mom what's been happening to me. So she had to go through that, do the report. I had to go through the counseling. I seen how hurt my family was, so I learned very young to put that mask on. It's like, okay, what can I do? Because my family's hurting.
and got out of counseling young. And it happened off and on growing up. It was being brown. I was molested by a white man, touched because he thought he had rights to touch me because I was brown.
Mm-hmm.
And even if we moved to different areas, having a girl molest me and this experience and growing up a teenager, becoming suicidal, experience with different beliefs, and just I didn't really go towards drugs till later. I've always been the baby, being naive. Even though growing up I was around the drug dealers, around the thugs, bikers, I was comfortable around it. So I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like family. So being around people that I really shouldn't have been opened the door.
Yes.
Being drawn to somebody because of being so broken. And it opened the door to the trafficker, and having people say, oh, it's okay to be alone. You trust your friends. And they trusted him. So I'm like, okay, you could be alone with them. Not knowing that he was grooming them to get to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then he groomed me, and it just went haywire. After the experience of trafficking, I was just broken. So it's having our insecurity, having our brokenness. I remember a homie saying, you're like this dove with a bunch of pack of wolves. And it didn't hit me then. But hearing that's what it is, they smell you out.
Mm-hmm.
They smell a victim. They smell insecurity. They smell their prey. And when stuff happened to me, there's, 5,000 rape cases that weren't put in the system between, you have the talk, 99 to 2005, I think it was.
Yes.
And I'm one of them. So going through the rape place that we were at and having this rape detective tell you, okay, you don't know how many times you've blacked out, therefore you're crying wolf. Are you willing to go and stay? Yes, I'm willing to go ahead and testify. I'm still trying to figure out who, I'll just be bluntly who the hell I am.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, who am I? I get this woman off and on. It's like, oh, that's my mom. Who is she? And she had to go through that with me, the walk of me coming back. It's like, who is this person? So through the system, I didn't get no help. Through the political streets, I didn't get any help because he got away. And with God, that's how I escaped. Showing you the home. Having that Phoenix water. That Phoenix water used to be so nasty. I'm like, how's it coming out a little brown? That has a little color to it. But when I had it, it was so clear. Like spring water. Just so pure. And so refreshing. And so it was definitely God. Angel. You never know if God is an angel, if you're entertaining an angel. And I believe that was an angel sent to make sure that I got back to where I needed to be.
Again, I just want to thank you so much for your bravery and just this interview and everything that you're doing. What would you say to that woman, that teen that may be out there that's just going through it right now?
For a person that's really going through, if you are feeling like you're captive, that there's no way out, there is a way. In survival, you will find a way. If you're captive in your mind, I don't know how many times I imprisoned myself back into my mind because that's trauma. It takes you back to that. Take the steps of healing. Take the steps of having grace for yourself, being patient with yourself, and learning to love you. Learning to get to know you after the trauma that you experience. Because you're not the same. You're never going to be that person you were before that experience. You're becoming a completely new you, and that is okay.
And it is okay not to be okay. It is okay to have those meltdown moments, to have those quiet moments, to have those sad moments, I would say. And be patient with yourself, because it's going to hit you at times. And that's why it's always good. If you have someone, if you don't, grab a pillow, do something to hold yourself and keep going. Think of your reason of why to keep going.
Some amazing wisdom. Now we want to address what happens if you're a woman that has found yourself, or a teen that has found yourself, you've just been raped, you've just been, something has happened. What would you recommend the next steps be, or what's important in those next steps after they escape?
After you've escaped and survived the trauma of sexual abuse of any sort, the hardest part is you can't shower. You can't get that stuff off you, because when you go ahead and go to a rape clinic and they test you, or urgent care, someplace, a hospital, they need to examine you. And the examination, is it okay if I get details?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The examination is actually going to enter your body with the camera. They have to look in the inside. They do the lighting to see if there's any bruises from your toe to your head to toe. Looking at those, I know for me, there were marks around my neck, marks on my arms, my legs, my whole body. The inside was torn up. So now, thank God, there's laws that protect victims, that they're able to have some type of voice. I didn't have the voice. And I'm glad things are changing now that you have that. So if you do experience some of that, again, please do not shower. Call first, see where you need to go to, and get examined. They give you a pill. I don't know if it's still a black little pill. Now it's like Plan B that they use. And it just kills any sperm that's in you, so you don't have that. And get the counseling, get the help that's needed, because you might think you're okay afterwards, that you can survive, you're tough. You can be the toughest person, that hell's gonna come. The most important thing for me is to help others, educate people. This stuff's real. Being captive is real. The person next door, if you think, oh, this person I could go ahead and trust. My first trafficker was a friend, and then left me with another one. So that lets you know you need to be careful of who you're around. Get to truly know people. If you get any hints of red flags, please listen to that. The gut feelings and questions. Sometimes you do need to go ahead and question and have that guard and protection. Guard your heart. Guard your body. Because once that gets hit, that's a piece of your soul that's taken.
Hey, since you escaped, and how do you want to give back to the community?
Today, I am going to school so I could go ahead and make a difference in somebody's life, to be there to support them. The system sucks, and I'm a believer in God. I pray. And so I'm going to school for Christian counseling to be able to help women, children, men, whoever needs it, anyone that's gone through some sort of trauma, to know that healing is possible. Got on the shirt where change is possible. To know that you're not stuck. You're not captive. You can be free. There is something on the other side, and you got to do what you have to get that freedom. But again, the system doesn't help release someone in trauma. And a lot of churches don't really know how to help someone that's deep into trauma, and to try and help avoid that re-traumatization. I've experienced being re-traumatized by people in organizations, but in organizations at that time, everyone was learning, everyone was growing. So I don't really think it was intentional at that time. It thought different, because it definitely put me back. But now we're all uniting, or we need to unite to go ahead and help each other. doing some trauma-informed care, having mentors and coaches is important. To have those, having leaders, pastors that you could go ahead and depend on or go to, you at least have somebody you could go to. And I'm praying for everybody. You do need that one person or more. If you do have that, that is a blessing. Pray that God does bring someone into your life to be there for you, to support you. It might not be the way you want, but at least you have something to follow. It's just me. That during my time, the system completely sucked. I experienced the
Mine too.
other end of the system of all ends of it. But then when we had the Capitol coming together, starting to make moves with human trafficking, and them coming together and learning and educating and trainings that they're gone through and are going through to improve. And I'm so thankful for that, because I know with that part, it helped me.
Mm-hmm.
And what started my healing journey was actually being at the Capitol. And I believe it was Star that was sharing their stories of these young ladies that were prostituted, and they were teenagers. And Homeland Security was there, and he came out to me. And I just thanked him for what he was doing. And he already knew I was a survivor. He's like, your story's different. It's like, you're a survivor. I didn't share with him that I survived. I didn't share with him that I went through. I just was thanking him.
Mm-hmm.
And for him to go and give that and give me the card of healing. Even a little before that, when I started shadowing and wanting to see what movements were happening, what was going to help survivors, even with natives, and others that don't have the paper trail.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing those in the shadows to get help. It's like, what is law enforcement doing? What is the Capitol really doing to help? Because during my time, being able to tell Phoenix PD, it's like, you know what? Phoenix PD could have helped me, because I was in a hotel. And I even pointed at my car, hiding it, going like this. And they could see my driver's license saying it's not Phoenix, it's in the east side. And they're just like, okay, guys, just keep it down. I was the only female with a bunch of Mexicans from Canada. Really? I'm like, really, Phoenix PD? Right there, red flag. You need to be paying attention to the red flags. Those little things. You don't want to do the paperwork or something? So it cost me being trafficked. And I don't hate them. Having a Phoenix PD apologize for it.
Mm-hmm.
But still, what do I think of Phoenix cops or something? I'm sorry. My trust on police out there is still an issue. My trust in cops, there are great cops out there, but for survivors, people that have done some things, it's questionable because of the system, what they showed us. And that does need to make change. Mm-hmm. And I'm willing to step up and help. I have no problem helping out. And that's one thing I'm thankful for, is they turned out and helped me. When at first they were the part of the issue, in a way you could say.
Yeah.
In my eyes, they were a part of the issue. I'm like, you were no different than those that I hurt. That you wore a uniform. So get your education and learn, see that the trauma's real. The effects of what you say and do with those around is real. Why do people have trust issues with some law enforcement? Experience of what they had. And you have experience of why law enforcement has their experience of why they get fearful of people. But it's all through the experiences, the traumas of the past, what they've seen, even TV and media, what that media's BS.
And what their pimps tell them.
Yes. You got the traffickers, it's like pimps. You have this, even just streets, it's that way you have the survival. They tell in families, whatever the previous people experienced, you can't trust police. They're going to do this. They're going to break it. You have the pimps telling women you can't open. Well, they're brainwashing them. Mm-hmm. They're traumatizing, gaslighting you into believing then that you don't have a way out when you do. You think it's like, okay, this is my life now. I need to accept it.
No, what do you really want? You need to find what you want, not what others want for you. I would say before coaching or counseling, work on you first. Because you might bleed on someone, you might say something that could re-traumatize somebody, that could hurt somebody. So you have to learn. I know I'm taking steps to make sure I don't say the wrong thing, because sometimes I could come off a little rough. So what I want to say to everybody in all communities, all walks, church, non-church, organizations, people that do want to go ahead and help, do it with love, do it with compassion, trying to have understanding. Actually sit there and listen. Don't listen to respond. If it's too much for you, that is okay. Pray for somebody. Whatever your faith is, grow. And it's okay. It's just to love someone. I just want people to heal. I want the unity. So with the organizations, the churches, the trauma-informed, the coaches, the psychologists, psychiatrists, it's medical. We need more unity, not division. Let the media BS go. We need more unity. Every single life matters, from babies to adults to purple, green, blue. I don't care what your abilities or non-abilities are. You matter. Your life matters, your health matters, your spirit matters.
Yeah.
So for closing this, just want to say, love you. Thank you. Hopefully this touched your heart in some way. Hopefully it made a difference. Praying for you. I take from the heart. Again, you matter. You can make a difference. Again, healing is possible. Change is possible. Just keep growing one step at a time.